Welcome back to Turkish series stars. I hope your day is going beautifully. Today we're diving into a topic that has set the Turkish entertainment world buzzing, a conversation that's stirred curiosity, fueled whispers, and pulled countless eyes to the same question. As the title gives away, we're talking about the alleged scandal swirling around Alina and Alp Navras. Buckle up, because we're going to unpack the timeline, the hints, the reactions, and everything that's reached the public so far. And before we jump into it, if you haven't yet, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment with us. We love having you here, and your support keeps this community thriving. Let's get right to it. The pair who swept audiences off their feet in the massively popular series Yalan, with the on-screen soulmates Ferit and Siren, found themselves at the center of intense speculation about a real-life connection that, according to the rumor mill, might have stretched beyond a strictly professional friendship. The result? A full-on tremor across social media and showbiz circles in Turkey. It began months ago, almost quietly, when images, short clips, and breathless posts started circulating online and in a few entertainment columns, pointing to an unusual closeness between Alina and Alp. At first, many chalked it up to extraordinary on-screen chemistry. After all, when two actors embody a couple as powerfully as they did, fans inevitably carry that feeling beyond the set. It's human nature. We see Ferit and Siren care for each other, and we wonder if that tenderness can exist outside the frame. But then the tone shifted. Gossip pages claimed they had messages, that there were witnesses, and that late-night get-togethers looked more personal than professional. Those posts mentioned deliberately private moments, sidelong glances at events, and a telling awkwardness whenever the press brought up the subject. That's when the word in the title, "a scandal," began echoing in comment sections. The question wasn't just about friendship anymore, it was whether a behind-the-scenes spark had been quietly burning. Why does this become a scandal? Because speculation is a powerful engine. In Turkey, as in so many entertainment hubs, fans are deeply invested in the stars they admire. When the romantic heartbeat of a series feels so believable, the boundary between fiction and life gets blurry. While a large segment wanted Alina and Alp to be a real couple, others worried about the pressure, the timing, and the way public perception can turn expectations into demands. Some viewers fretted about how such a narrative might affect reputations or complicate personal commitments, especially if people assumed lines had overlapped in messy ways. That fear set off a flood of theorizing. Soon the conversation reached a fever pitch. Certain gossip accounts hinted at confusing timelines, and more than a few voices on social platforms began to ask whether affection behind the scenes had lingered beyond the workday. To be clear, nothing concrete emerged that would qualify as hard proof. But that never stops a storyline from picking up speed online. The result was a firestorm of opinions, a cascade of passionate messages, and a tug-of-war between those cheering a possible romance and those cautioning for privacy and respect. Yalan fans found themselves split down the middle. On one side were those dreaming of Ferit and Siren stepping into real life, convinced that the soul of their screen love must have an echo after cut. On the other side were voices insisting that personal boundaries matter, that whatever happens away from the camera is not a public spectacle to dissect, and that the people involved deserve space to breathe. It wasn't just a debate about what is true, it was a debate about what is fair. The press, as always, amplified everything. Headlines inflated small moments, grainy photos were stretched into theories. Entertainment programs replayed event footage frame by frame, measuring every smile and gesture. Anonymous testimonies were quoted, social feeds dissected, and any tiny hint that might validate a conclusion was treated like a breadcrumb worth pursuing. In this environment, silence often feels like an answer, even when it isn't. Under that spotlight, Alina and Alp initially chose not to engage. Silence can be a shield, especially when the noise is loud, but sometimes it only stokes the fire. Then came a development that renewed speculation. Reports surfaced that Alina had ended a previous relationship. The timing, of course, triggered new waves of comments. For some, it seemed like a puzzle piece dropping into place. For others, it was a reminder that correlation isn't causation, and that private decisions rarely fit neatly into public narratives. Soon after, Alina spoke through a brief, composed statement. She didn't confirm a romance with Alp. Instead, she clarified that she was single at that moment, asked for understanding, and emphasized the importance of privacy for herself and those around her. The language was calm and measured, a way of saying, in essence, that not every chapter is meant to be narrated to the crowd. Alp, for his part, remained characteristically reserved. He didn't fan the flames, but his occasional proximity to Alina at certain public moments kept the conversation alive for those who wanted to read between the lines. What makes this story especially modern is the way it unfolded in the era of social media. Rumors now move at lightning speed. A glance becomes a thread becomes a theory, and a theory takes on a life of its own. Fans act as detectives, jurors, and sometimes referees, and the pressure on the people at the center can be intense. In a matter of hours, a moment of closeness can be seen by millions and judged 1,000 different ways. Despite the whirlwind, interest in Alina, Alp, and Yalin only grew. For some viewers, the off-screen narrative added fuel to their fascination with Ferret and Siren's on-screen journey. For others, it was a distraction they wished would fade so the work could speak for itself. But love them or critique them, the audience kept watching. Ratings didn't crash. If anything, chatter amplified the spotlight on the series and its stars. And that's where perspective becomes essential. Until and unless the people involved choose to confirm or deny anything explicitly, everything beyond their statements is guesswork. There's room for curiosity, but there should also be room for restraint. The line between interest and intrusion is thin, especially when feelings and reputations are at stake. There's also the question of what we, as viewers and followers, learn from a story like this. First, the private lives of public figures are always precarious ground. Second, the magic we see on screen can be so powerful that it spills into our own emotions, making us want a happy ending that we can point to in real life. Third, the megaphone of media and platforms can magnify a whisper into a chorus, sometimes distorting the tune along the way. None of that is new, but it's getting faster and louder, and we all feel it. What remains non-negotiable is the talent and dedication Alina and Alp bring to their craft. Yalin didn't resonate by accident. It resonated because disciplined professionals showed up day after day, built a believable world, and poured real emotion into Ferret and Siren. That work speaks loudly, whatever the tabloids propose in the margins. And even if fans hunger for romance beyond the script, it's the performances that earned the spotlight in the first place. Let's gather the threads. The rumor mill kicked into gear around Alina Boz and Alp Navras, sparked by photos, sightings, and digital murmurings that suggested a closeness offset. Speculation grew, dividing viewers into those who wanted to see their screen love materialize and those urging care and privacy. After a period of silence, news emerged that Alina had ended a previous relationship, which only intensified the commentary. Alina then clarified she was not in a relationship at that time and asked for respect, while Alp stayed largely quiet, allowing interpretations to swirl without adding fuel. Through it all, Yalin drew crowds, Ferret and Siren kept the audience leaning forward, and the conversation refused to die down. If you've been following Turkish entertainment for a while, you know this pattern. It's not unique, but it is powerful, and it has real consequences for the people in the center. What makes this moment different is the sheer visibility. One candid photo can outpace a carefully crafted statement by a mile, which means taking a breath before we draw conclusions is more important than ever. And yet, the allure of seeing an on-screen love cross over into reality is timeless. That desire isn't malicious, it's a testament to how convincing great acting can be. It proves that Ferret and Siren aren't just characters, they're feelings the audience carries once the credits roll. Maybe that's what keeps this conversation burning, the wish that the tenderness we witness is more than choreography. It's a beautiful thought, but the real people behind the characters get to decide its truth. They get to draw the lines, choose what to share, and set the tempo for any revelations. Until then, the only certainty is this: the story belongs to them, whether they ever tell it or not. And that brings us full circle. The alleged scandal around Alina and Alp Navras has captivated fans, invited debate, and reminded everyone of the delicate balance between fascination and respect. The clips, the headlines, the whispers, they make for a gripping saga, but the quiet statements and thoughtful silences matter more. If love did bloom, it deserves the chance to grow without a microscope. If it didn't, the work they've done still deserves the applause. So, that's where we land today. We've traced how a rumor rose, how the fanbase split, how the media fanned sparks into flames, and how Alina and Alp navigated the noise with restraint. We've seen how audiences can become attached to the idea of Ferret and Siren living beyond the set, and how that attachment can overshadow the difference between characters and actors. We've also seen that, despite everything, the draw of Yalin remains strong, and the professionalism that created it remains undeniable. As always, I want to hear from you. Do you think the online buzz went too far, or was it an inevitable consequence of incredible chemistry? Do you believe there's anything behind those whispers, or do you prefer to keep the magic on the screen and leave the rest in peace? Tell us in the comments. Your perspectives are the heartbeat of this community. If you enjoyed this deep dive, give the video a like, share it with friends who follow Alina and Alp, and don't forget to subscribe to Turkish series stars and turn on notifications so you won't miss what's next. Thank you for spending time with us, and we'll see you in the next one.